Subhendu, I can't hear you. I think you're on mute.
Thanks, Gopal. So I think I'm loud and clear now.
Yes, absolutely.
Great. So welcome everyone. Good evening. Welcome to the first webinar of Amazon Smbhav Hackathon. If you are aware, this is the season 2. So we did a fabulous hackathon last year around the same time. This season 2, we have come back with a large hackathon with bigger themes, better format. We'll talk about it. How this hackathon is way better than the season 1. Before I start, I have an amazing speaker with us from Amazon, Gopal. Gopal has been with Amazon for quite a long time, and he has been a leader in the technology domain. He's worked with the small and medium businesses all along, and has helped them to build technology together and put it on AWS, right? And he understands digital transformation, which is very relevant for the SMBs today, right? And one of the interesting things about Gopal is that he knows 6 languages. So I got to know that a few days back, and it's quite interesting. And out of those 6 languages, it's 5 Indian languages, right? So that's quite interesting. And Gopal is an avid basketball player because he's quite tall. He's 6 feet 3 inches. So so Gopal is here with us in the this evening to share about this amazing hackathon that Amazon is doing. And this hackathon is actually part of a conference. This is Amazon Smbhav conference. This was also done last year. So last year's hackathon was also part of the conference. Before we start and talk about the hackathon a little more, Gopal, can you let the audience know, the participants know why Amazon is doing this conference, why Amazon is doing Smbhav conference?
Absolutely. Thank you, Subhendu, for the introduction. So, welcome everybody to this session. So, actually, if you look at Amazon and AWS, right? So we have actually had a pledge before in last year. Smbhav, our then CEO Jeff Bezos, he made a pledge to digitize about 10 million SMBs in India by 2025, right? So we have been on that path. And as you know, in our effort to increase the pace of digitization of small businesses, creating jobs, and making themselves a hub for manufacturing and innovation, and it's been challenging for small and medium businesses to scale also post pandemic, right? So these companies and individuals have faced several issues managing finance, scaling, managing growth, being data driven, etc., right? So this conference with the theme of Pragati is actually an effort from our side to do our bit in this journey for India, right? It is spread across 2 days. It's a virtual summit. It will focus on key, business aspects of digitization, export, etc., right? And if you see this hackathon, startups, retail owners, manufacturers, developers, solution providers, everybody can attend and gain out of this.
Got it. And what excited you to do hackathon as part of the conference, right? Typically, hackathons are standalone events that companies do to either engage with developers or hire them. What was the purpose behind doing the hackathon as part of the conference?
That's a great question, Chubhendu. Actually, we see that many small businesses in India are scrambling for viable solutions, right, in different spaces, in cutting edge technologies, as well as in the day to day operations also. And we want to help them in this path to digitization, right? So that is why we are conducting this hackathon, and we call upon you to participate in this and create solutions so that you can join hands with fellow tech innovators and bring to life solutions and products that can help our country with the digital disruption it requires and deserves. So they will probably get ideas from you and what you create and what you showcase.
Got it. Cool. So I guess the way we want is give the power of technology to every small and medium business in India. The way Amazon has leveraged technology for decades, can we give that power to our small retailers in India, right? And so that they can do better business, they can do more efficient business, right? So I think That's the main aim of the event, right? Both conference and hackathon enable our small and business enterprises, make them digitize them and take them to the next level, right? So let me just throw a little light about the season two, right? Why are we doing it once more, right? So obviously season one was quite successful. We'll talk about it in the later slides. The idea behind season two is again what Gopal stressed upon is, can we think big? Can we help our small and medium enterprises become more digital, right? Can they be more competitive, right? Can they reach out to more customers? Can they serve more customers, right? That's the idea of the hackathon. That's what is the thesis of the hackathon, right? Can our participants, can our developers, engineers come up with great ideas, right? We want them to think big. Obviously, we want them to come up with more innovative ideas, not work on a cookie cutter or a plain vanilla idea. We want them to innovate, like our previous year participants. And obviously, we do have great prizes to be won, right? We want them to win big. So we'll talk about that in the coming slides. But the idea is that we want them to innovate. We want them to think big, right? So that's the crux of this hackathon, the season two. What happened in season one, right? We had quite a number of registration. In fact, as a hackathon platform, this is one of the biggest hackathon that we have seen, right? Thanks to Amazon. We partnered with Amazon last year, and we got tremendous participation, right? Obviously, it was during the pandemic time, so it was completely online, and we had 21,000 plus registrations that came from every nook and corner of the country, right? And we had 200 teams who had built these products out of those 21,000 registrations. We had 200 teams building out product, building out prototype across the themes, right? The previous year themes, we will talk about it a little later. But it was again focused on small and medium enterprises, right? We had 10 winning teams. There was 15 lakh Indian rupees as the prize money, and our participants were across 20 cities, right? Like I said, every nook and corner of the country. They were from tier one cities, metros, they were from tier two cities, they were from smaller towns. So we had a very equitable distribution of participation, and we really liked it. I think Amazon team liked it. That's why we are back with the season two, right? That was one of the primary reasons, the kind of participation we saw from the Indian developer community, right? That in fact encouraged Amazon and Skillenza to come back with the second version, right? The second season. So this is what our participants really liked about the last hackathon. In fact, typically, Gopal, you know, right, hackathons are a learning experience for the participants, right? It's a great place to network, meet other developers, work with them, build a prototype. And in fact, most of our Amazon hackathons have been a great learning experience for participants, because there's always an AWS component, right? So if the developers are not exposed to the AWS component, they get to learn, right? We do have a few webinars on AWS, so people will get to understand AWS and the services quite well. There were some office hours that we conducted, right? So that every hackathon is a learning experience. So if you see the testimonials from the winning teams and other participants, they always talk about that. Hey, hackathon is just not a platform for me to showcase my skill, but it's also a way to learn new things, right? You always find that people are learning. So that's what we saw. Developers loved it, and we kind of are striving hard, working hard to make this experience, the season two, as good as the season one, or in fact better, right? So we have some more content and webinars in pipeline. So I think our participants this year also will like this hackathon, the season two, right? So moving on, what's new in this hackathon, right? This hackathon, obviously, this we're aiming for a larger hackathon, so we have very interesting themes this year. Keeping in mind what's relevant today for SMBs and what's new in the market, right? So we have come up with quite interesting themes. We have three broad themes actually this year. So the first theme is NFT for Indian artists. So in fact, if you see the media, if you go through Twitter nowadays, Web3 is the new buzzword, right? A lot of developers also want to build tools in Web3. A lot of founders are building companies. So there is a lot of large tech companies are also getting into Web3 bandwagon. So Web3 is quite interesting. It's giving a lot of power to the user. So there is a big scope out there, and we chose a theme that is relevant for our small and medium enterprises, for the local community, right? So we knew NFTs were a quite interesting topic, right? And as our developer audience know about NFTs, I would like to throw a little light on what NFTs are, right? It's basically non-fungible tokens, right? It's basically showing that the user has ownership on that NFT, right? And that's kind of recorded on a blockchain, right? So that gives immense power to the creator, right? The creator who digitizes something, right? Whether it's an art, it's a basically a text message or a blog or a video, right? In the old world, it's very difficult to kind of own rights on a digital product, right? It can be copied several times into sent across to users. But in the blockchain world, the creator can have the ownership, right? It's recorded on the blockchain. And that's why it's very interesting for the artists, right? Artists who are trying to create digital art, right? So you can see some of these artists have already started doing it. They're leveraging this new technology, and that's a blessing for the Indian artist community. Now, how do we leverage it as part of the hackathon, right? Like, what should our participants do so that they can help out these creators, right? So, what happens in a typical NFT creation? There is a blockchain involved, and there is a transaction fee, right? And these are very, you can say, geeky or tech heavy tools. So now we want the participants to put their thinking hat and come up with tools that can enable digital artists who does not understand blockchain or are not exposed to coding can create NFTs quickly, right? The way we today can create a website using a no code tool, uh, that is what we are expecting, right? There. And also when you create any product, you want it to be distributed, you want a community to understand what you're creating, you want it to market it, right? So you need marketplaces for creators to showcase their thing. Amazon is a marketplace to showcase products and sell products. Similarly, we would want to see marketplace ideas to showcase NFT from Indian creators, right? There could be vernacular marketplaces, right? We want community tools for the creators to kind of market their tools, market it to more community, engage the community, right? So these are some of the ideas that we think are quite relevant for Indian artists, but we would kind of encourage the participants to go beyond that, put your thinking hat, right? Go to your whiteboard, think and come up with better ideas, right? These are some sample ideas that we would want you to kind of focus, but just go wild, right? And Gopal, as we are on the topic, I would like to understand how our participants can leverage AWS to probably, if they are attacking this theme, right? If they're building something on NFTs for the Indian artist.
Absolutely. So, if you look at AWS, right? So, AWS provides north of like 200 services, 200 plus services that you can leverage, right? And many of these services are what we call as managed services, where you don't have to do a lot of heavy lifting yourself or coding yourself, right? So, try as much as possible to use these managed services, right? At the bottom, we probably have at the bottom of the chain, you probably have basic compute and storage and etc., where you can provision your servers and do all the heavy lifting and do it yourself. But for probably, if you want to make it less complex, use the many managed services that AWS provides, right? So, for example, there is serverless, where you don't have to provision a lot of servers or do a lot of heavy lifting. You can get started immediately, and there's much less code you have to write in many of them. And if you're looking for blockchain, we also have Amazon, managed blockchain services also, right? So we will probably have more webinars where we'll educate you about AWS. But AWS has a host of services to help you, build, get started, and build and succeed on AWS.
Okay, thank you, Gopal, for sharing that information. Let's move to the next topic. Financial inclusion. Fintech is another buzzword that is there in the tech ecosystem. As a participant would have seen a lot of startups getting formed, right? And as they say, every company is a fintech company, right? So, Gopal, why have we chosen financial inclusion as a topic for our season two? Like, what's the particular reason?
Right. So if you so first of all, let us look at what financial inclusion is, right? So it is defined as a process of ensuring access to financial services and adequate credit were needed by all the groups, including vulnerable groups such as weaker sections, low-income groups, at an affordable cost. Right. So if you look at our landscape in India, there are a lot of people who don't have access to proper banking, right? Which means they don't have access to credit or savings instruments or investments, etc. Right. So that is why financial inclusion is very crucial in India. It also broadens the resource base of the financial system by developing a culture of saving, right, among large segment of rural population, and it plays its own role in the process of economic development. Right, so we're essentially bringing low-income groups within the perimeter of formal banking sector. Financial inclusion projects that protects their financial wealth also. Right, so this is very crucial. It also mitigates the exploitation of vulnerable sections by moneylenders, right? By facilitating easy access to formal credit. You would have seen a host of, financial inclusion products by startups which have come up, right? So this is a very interesting space and probably would have a great impact on our country.
Yeah, so basically, what we you mean is that when we have a larger part of our population, Indian population, digitized, right, on with banking solution, obviously it'll open doors for our small and medium enterprises, right? They will get more customers. There'll be better payment systems, right? So, and these guys can also have a credit score, so that there could be lenders coming in, digital lenders coming in and getting into the ecosystem, right? So I think this is probably a win-win situation for both SMBs and as customers also, right? We getting benefit out of it. So can you throw some light on some typical ideas that our participants can probably brainstorm and create products?
Absolutely. So I would say look at and understand the theme and probably work on your idea, right? So just don't have the tunnel vision of only a particular your definition of financial inclusion, right? So this could include microfinance, savings, insurance, crowdfunding also, right? Sometime back I came across an app which facilitates small savings for low income groups, right? So that could be, or if you can think of an instrument or an app that helps people with low income, small amounts of money, how they can invest or how they can get insurance, right? How they can use crowdfunding for any of their needs. So any of this could belong to the theme of financial inclusion.
No, so you're saying like a very simple idea could be that our daily wage laborers get paid every day, right? So can they just save like a rupee every day, or like a cup like a 10 rupee every day, right? So that at the month end they have something there in their bank account, and that could be then probably invested by end of the month in something, right? I think there could be also a great idea about can they understand stock market investment in a more vernacular language. It might not be necessarily a fintech app. It could be education app kind of focusing on financial inclusion, right? People can go wild on that front also.
Exactly. So the theme is pretty broad, right? So as Subhendu said, it could include educating these people about what is available out there for them, right? And remember, these folks don't have access to proper banking because of paperwork. They don't have proper credit score, or they don't have access to other materials that other segments have.
Got it. And there could be ways, I guess, our participants can again leverage AWS here, right? There could be great services that can be relevant for fintech applications.
That is correct. So if you look at AWS, there are a lot of managed services also, like serverless services that you can use in AWS in order to build. So you can build mobile ready apps very soon. You can get up and running on AWS.
Got it. So I think that's a great advice, because as we see, most of our crowd, right, whom we are targeting for financial inclusion, what we call as a term, right, Bharat, right, they belong to tier 2 or tier 3 cities. So I think these people have actually escaped the laptop or a PC generation. They have actually gone mobile. Their exposure to digital world is mobile only, right? It's not mobile first, it's mobile only. So I think a great way, you can say a cheat code for our participants would be to leverage some of these services where they can build mobile apps quickly. right, which can be then targeted, and probably Android, right, probably Android, because the segment uses more Android phones. So that could be a great area where they can think mobile first or mobile only product ideas, right, whatever kind of problem statement they pick, but the delivery of the solution could be mobile only or mobile first.
See, one of the services that I can think of is I don't want to get deep into any of the services, but one of them is AWS Amplify, right, which helps you build extensible full stack web and mobile applications faster, and it is very easy to start and easy to scale. Right? For example, that could be one of the services that you can use to build these applications.
Yeah, cool. Guys, keep a note. Gopal has given a hint for you to kind of pick up a great service and probably build a great product. So, Gopal, my last question on the slide, why has Amazon chosen this theme, right? How is it relevant for Amazon as such?
Oh, well, so these themes are not specifically that going to benefit us. These are needs of the hour, right? So that's what we are seeing around us, wherein we see that a big segment of our population, which directly and indirectly affects small businesses also, right? So as I said, small businesses are the backbone of our country, right? So they will need access to credit, and that will not happen if a big segment of our population has been cut out of the whole banking and financial system, right? So that we need to include them in this whole gamut of financial products that we have, in order to kind of build an overall development and be on a path to digitization and creating more job opportunities, etc.
Got it. Thank you, Gopal. We'll move to the next slide. So there is the third theme that is called business innovation, right? So since the focus of the hackathon and the conference is small and medium enterprises, this theme also focuses on business innovation, and I would like Gopal to let us know what does this mean, like what does business innovation mean, right, from a hackathon point of view or from a technology standpoint.
um, uh, Again, it's kind of difficult to give a very strict definition. This is a very broad term, right? So this could include anything like businesses creating new products and services for their end users, for the end user markets, or any kind of tools, technologies that could improve their internal processes, operations, etc. Right? Anything that could make a business lean and mean or efficient can also come in this category of business innovation.
Got it. So basically, we're saying that SMBs, but I guess the participants have to focus on SMBs, right? Because that's the meta theme of the conference and hackathon. We're not looking at ideas which will probably benefit a public company to do something, but we are looking at a product that can benefit my local kirana shop, right? Something like that.
Exactly. Anything that you can think of making these businesses efficient, increase their value, give them more revenue producing opportunities. It could be as simple as automating, deciphering documents and invoices and or accounting, or how they can take care of inventory, or there are simple tools that they can help to forecast the demands. Right. So any of these could be simple, business innovation ideas.
Got it. In fact, Skillenza has been helping a lot of these tech companies and large companies to hire talent, right, through hackathon model, through coding contest. I see there is a great, you can say, an analogy where there could be a similar model like Skillenza or Naukri for the SMBs, right? Because hiring talent, whether it's a large company or a small retailer, hiring talent and retaining talent is always a big problem, right? That's the need of the hour. So there could be a solution where there could be a job marketplace for blue collar job seekers, right? So that could be a great idea that people can work on. So Gopal, why do you think basically this idea is more relevant, right? Let's say why was this idea picked, right? Was it because of the focus of Amazon on SMBs?
Precisely, Shubhendu. So we've seen a lot of small businesses struggle with adopting technology, and this becomes a blocker to their path to digitization, right? So if we have to kind of pull up the SMB, make them more progressive, adopt digital technologies, we need to provide simple solutions to them for their business problems. So that is the reason this is one of the key themes that we also want to focus on.
Got it. Cool. And any services in particular that could be relevant for this theme?
um, Again, as I said, this is a very wide theme based on what aspect you are choosing. It could be fintech, it could be, I don't know, a loan origination, it could be demand forecasting. So there you could choose from the host of 200 plus services, right? So there is no specific service I could pinpoint. For example, if you are helping a small business forecast demand, right? So we have a service called service called forecasting that helps you forecast, right? It's a managed service, it's a packaged and managed service where it can help you get started very soon, right? So but it's difficult to pinpoint more specific services because this whole business innovation theme is very expansive.
True, true. I totally agree. In fact, one of the hint could be that if you, as a developer, you might have used so many tools in your company, right? Like a tool for communication, there is an onboarding tool, tools for bookkeeping, right? So you just think about it and think from a small retailer or a small enterprise perspective and start kind of doing those analogous creations, right? And everyone, please keep in mind whatever ideas me and Gopal are discussing. These are sample ideas. These are you can say a framework to guide you. Please be more innovative, right? Think beyond what we have spoken. That's our request. Don't restrict yourself to only the ideas that are being shown in the webinar. This is just a reference point for you. Innovate beyond. Go and read. There will be more webinars happening, little deeper webinars on these themes, but read more and see. Probably go to a small retailer where you're buying your grocery and ask that person what problem they're facing, and that's a great way of building a product, right? Do a good customer research, and then you have time. We have a month time for this hackathon, so we would encourage everyone to think beyond the box, right? I know it's a cliched statement, but thinking beyond the box is important, right? Because that's how you will win the hackathon, right? So thanks, Gopal. Let's move to some of the nuances of this season 2, like what are the details, right? So if you look at the timeline of the hackathon, we have already started the registration. We have been seeing a good number of people kind of getting into the hackathon bandwagon. So please join, invite your friends, talk about, share it on social media. Let's get the Indian developer ecosystem community moved, rallied, and let's solve it for this SMB, right? Amazon has been doing this for a few years, right? We should join the bandwagon, innovate for our small and medium enterprises, because that's how the country will grow, right? That's what is very important. And then there are these 3 themes that we discussed, right? Pick up one of the themes, go into a sub theme, sub problem deeper, talk to the customer, do some research, and come up with the idea, right? There are interesting webinars that we have, these learning sessions for you. This, the first one is general introduction to the hackathon, right? Talk a little bit about the AWS services, but we will have more deeper ones. We do have one on NFTs. We'll talk about it in the coming slides. Then you have this almost a month time to build your solution, right? The prototype. We have a discussion forum on our website. We'll soon start a Discord server so that you can start posing your questions, any help you need, right? That's the phase where we are there for you to help you out in building the prototype. You can always reach out to the Scalenza team, and we'll help you out. We'll connect to the right mentor. If you have any questions for AWS, the AWS team is here to help you out, right? Like I said, there are more webinars happening. And then we will shortlist the final prototypes based on what you have done. So we encourage you to build a prototype, use AWS service, build a prototype. We're not looking at ideas on paper, right? We're looking at prototypes. We are all builders, right? We want to build for the SMB. So we want real working prototypes. It could be mobile app, it could be web, right? It could be something what we have not thought. It could be an AR VR solution for SMB, for the lack of better word, right? So we're looking at great ideas. That's what we are looking at, ideas that solve real problems, right? And that's how we will kind of pick up the best 10 ideas. What we want is, once we pick up the winners, we want those winners to present their ideas very well, right? Because that's one of the part of the problem, right? Even if you have built a great product, you have to be a great storyteller, right? We want you to showcase it to our judges, to the community, that this is what you have built, so that innovation can then reach out to the SMBs, right? So we want you to be great storytellers. Don't worry, we will have great mentors who have been previous hackathon winners. They know how to pitch, they know how to tell stories, so they will train you. So that's the mentorship that will happen before final presentation. And there'll be a demo day, so it'll be nothing less than a demo day where founders pitch to investors. So we'll have in that style. We have the reference video from last year hackathon. If you It'll be there, hosted on our website, so you can see what happened last year, so you'll get some reference points. And obviously, once you present to our esteemed judges, there'll be winners declared based on certain parameters, right? I'll talk about those parameters in the next slides. And obviously, you'll win big, right? So that's a promise that you innovate, you will win big. So that's a promise from our side, from Amazon side. And that will be showcased during the final conference, right? The Smbhav conference, which is completely virtual. So you're free to attend the conference, and your demo day will be showcased during the Smbhav conference, right? The final conference, which is happening on 18th and 19th May. So now these are the upcoming webinars. NFT is a new topic, so we want participants to understand it very well. So that's why we have put this creation, right? NFT creation, like what are the nuances of whole NFT ecosystem. So we'll have great NFT founders who are building something in the NFT ecosystem. We will have them as speakers. So do attend the webinar. All of the questions that you have will be answered on that day. We'll have a deep dive with AWS, right? Some of the developers might know AWS well, but we would want the new crowd to also understand. Like I said, hackathons are learning sessions. So we have one with getting started with AWS. And like I said, we want you to build prototypes. We want you to build products, right? We don't want ideas on paper or presentations. So we want you to build products. And basically, when we're talking about product design, there are a lot of nuances out there, right? There is UX, there is customer basically surveys, right? You go and talk to a customer. So we'll go through that so that you guys are equipped to build great products and win the hackathon, right? So we'll announce it once you are registered for the hackathon. You will get the right set of emails and SMS so that you are aware of the hackathon, so you can add it to your calendar, right? So these are the 3 webinars that we have. And like I said, if you have any specific questions on other stuff, you can always put it on Skillenza's discussion forum or on the Discord server, right? So this is the prize money. I think we should not look at the amount, right? It's irrelevant. What matters is the love of coding, right? So we encourage you to build for the SMBs, but irrespective of that, given that we do have a great pool of prizes for everybody, right? The winner team, it's a decent, you can say, sized prize for the winning team, runners up, right? And there'll be special mentions also going forward. So I think there is everything, right? There's quite a good prize pool for everybody. Do this for the love of code, right? And I guess, as they say, everybody is a winner in the hackathon, because at the end of the day, you will learn and create something interesting, right? So prizes is again a reference point to award the winner. But I would encourage all the developers to basically build something instead of looking at, oh, can I win the hackathon, right? Obviously, winning is one of the parameters, but build something, right? That's what our focus would be. So going to a judging criteria, obviously, idea phase, we have not put any judging criteria. We want everybody to submit their ideas and what they're building. But prototype phase, we want completeness. Like I said, we want complete prototypes which can be demoed, right? We want a AWS link, right? URL where you have hosted the product. We can, so that our judging team can play with it, right? We want you to use AWS, right? Use the services that Gopal mentioned, and we will obviously talk more about it in the coming webinars, right? And then obviously how you have used technology to solve a particular problem, right? And is the solution scalable, right? Will it reach out to the masses, right? When we talk about SMBs, there are probably 10 million plus SMBs in the country, and each SMB will have probably hundreds and thousands of users, right? So will your solution scale to that level, right? That's what a good engineer does, right? Builds scalable solution, right? For example, Amazon AWS, they are great scalable solution. They reach out to billions of users. So can we do that, right? Final demo, which is on the day where it will be almost like a style where founders pitch to investors. So we are looking at innovation, obviously completeness, user experience. We are targeting our products at a different segment of the country. So user experience is very important. So think about the customer, think about Bharat, right? Build something. And like I said, a great product without a great story does not go far, right? So we want you to pitch properly. We are there to help you out. We'll mentor you. So pitching and demo of the product also has some weightage, right? And these are the final parameters which will be used for judging both prototype phase and the final demo. So now let's come to the AWS services. We have thrown some light on that, but I would request Gopal to give our participants more idea on what are the services that are there, how they can leverage that, probably pertaining to the theme, right? uh, what are the areas where they can kind of ride on the AWS platform and build a great solution?
Absolutely. So generally, if you look at AWS, I can probably possibly list out all the services. There are probably 200 plus services, and they increase as we speak, right? So, and these services could range from simple, databases. When it comes to databases, we have probably 15 different flavors of databases. We have blockchain, we have application integration, containers, developer tools, machine learning, networking. We have quantum technologies, robotics, right? So it's difficult to touch upon each of these services that we have right away. But I would say that when it comes to AWS, there are millions of customers who are running all imaginable kinds of workloads on AWS, right? So we provide, um, if you can think of it, we provide that service, right? So which means businesses can use this service and get started very fast, right? So if you look at the services that need to be considered, you can use any of the other any services that you can see there in AWS in order to accomplish your end goal. But we want you to use at least one of these, right? If you look at, there's a serverless Lambda, right, which will help you get started immediately without having to provision or manage servers, right? And we have, if you want to use containers and you don't want to provision any of the infrastructure, you can use Fargate. API gateway makes it very easy for developers to create, publish, maintain, and secure APIs, right? And we have AppSync, right, which lets you create flexible and it can help you combine data from more than one source, right? So the reason is, and beyond that, we have very simple storage service, very simple, secure, scalable, powerful. DynamoDB is one of our NoSQL databases. It is one of the very low latency. You can go global within minutes. And Aurora serverless is also a very widely used Amazon service, right? So the reason is we want to show businesses that it is possible to use these services also and create the products very fast. Right? That is the reason we want you to use at least one of these services, because they speed up your development. They ease because you don't have to provision servers, etc. They scale up and down based on the needs of the business, right? So when you build these products, we also want to showcase or send the message or give the message that probably it's very easy to build these products using these managed services.
Got it. And so, Gopal, if I'm a participant and I'm not used AWS, right? I'm new to it. So, what would be my learning curve? Like, how easy or difficult it is for me to pick up AWS services from the tutorials or from some YouTube videos and build a prototype in the hackathon?
Actually, our attempt has been to simplify adoption of cloud for a lot of people and businesses, right? So if you see, there's a lot and lot of documentation available. There are blog posts, there are white papers that you can go through and get started immediately, right? So and even if you look at the way the services are laid out, a lot of managed services are probably, you don't have to know behind the scenes how they work, right? So our attempt has been constantly to make it very simple to democratize technology. So you'll see that with a little bit of learning, you can get started pretty fast.
Got it. Cool. And I we will actually share a lot. I think go deep into the services and how people can learn in the webinar that we have mentioned, right? So, Gopal, is it compulsory for the participants to use AWS in the hackathon?
Actually, yes, it is actually. So as I said, we have more than 1 million customers have entrusted us with the workloads, which means they are finding whatever they need on AWS, right? So there is no reason that you want to develop a workload, you want to deploy a workload, and you're not able to find the right infrastructure or service available in AWS, right? So our suggestion would be to develop these products on AWS itself.
Yeah, got it. I think some of the services you mentioned, some wild ideas started running in my head, right? So if I have to build a solution which takes a physical invoice, right, for a retailer, and then kind of the retailer takes a photo and that can be converted digitized quickly, right? And then there is a tracker or a QuickBook kind of a model where the invoice is stored, right? So I think that can be easily built using the AWS services, right? So that's why AWS will play a crucial role in the hackathon. So we would encourage the participants to use AWS, get right. And like we mentioned, the learning curve is not that steep, so it'll be easy for the participants to pick up AWS in the next 3 weeks and then and build a product, right? So, Gopal, one more question I had was, since we have mentioned that AWS is kind of, you can say, an integral part of the hackathon. What would be the weightage, right? How will you decide that somebody has used the service to the extent that you think, right? So, how are we going to judge these participants?
Right. So if you look at, as I said, our strong suggestion is to use AWS. So if you're developing the product, please do so on AWS, right? And when you do this, we would encourage use managed services more, right? The reason being, a lot of things are made possible quicker by using the managed services rather than provisioning services and using brute force to build everything from ground up, right? So the more managed services you use, the more elegant the solution will be, and probably it will also be more impressive, right? And again, the other things, as Subhendu already pointed out, the originality of the idea, the execution of it is very important, right? How well you have executed it, and how easy it is for small businesses to adapt and understand the product, right? So those are some of the things that go into the judging of it.
Got it. Cool. And I think since we have spoken about the hackathon and the theme and the objective, I guess the participants are thinking, right, like now I'm convinced I want to innovate for the small and medium enterprises. I want to innovate for Bharat. But how do I win, right? Any pointers on how our participants can dazzle the Amazon team and the panel of judges and win the hackathon, right? That's what I think in everybody's mind.
Right. So that is a secret sauce, Subhendu. So um, see, there is no one way. As I said, put on your thinking caps. I said, what are the problems that ails businesses and small businesses in India, right? So the idea has to hit the right spots. How well you execute it, the flawless execution of it, the elegancy of the solution, and as I said, building it on AWS using managed services also will probably get you some points, right? So completeness of it, as Shubhendu mentioned before, right? So what problem it solves, how well it solves, how easy it is to use and adapt by small businesses, right? Those are some of the things to keep in mind.
No, and Gopal, before we have quite a splurge of questions from our participants who are watching the webinar. So, any final thoughts before we go to the Q&A section of the webinar?
Um, as I said, this hackathon is probably to show what is possible, right? Kya sambhav hai, right? So that is why the businesses, when they see, they will take away that yes, you can do this. This is going to simplify your businesses and your life, right? So this is possible using these tools and technologies, and that is why this whole thing is called sambhav, right? It is possible for small businesses to be digitized to go into a better future, right? So that keeping that in mind, I would say code away, all the best, right? Looking forward to some great ideas from great minds.
Thanks, Gopal. So let's start the Q&A. We have participants with some relevant questions. So, Yashodhara, can you let us know which are the questions that need to be addressed?
Hi everyone. So, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yeah. So MRK, he has asked the question that can his hack idea be in education sector at scale? Can we take this up?
Yeah, sure. So I think Gopal and me discussed about an idea where it was education, where we were kind of teaching how the, the Bharat users can understand savings or investment, right? So it could be in education sector, I believe, but pertaining to the three themes that we have. So education plus whatever themes we have proposed. A combination of that would be interesting, right? What do you think, Gopal? How should the participants go across if they have education in mind?
Absolutely. I think Shubhendu hit the nail on the head. So if you have a great idea for educating masses, you can probably tweak it, right? To say that I want to educate the left behind segments of India on NFT or financial inclusion. That could be a great idea too.
Yeah, true, true. In fact, the artist would want to understand what NFTs are, right? That itself is a great education problem, and there are millions of digital and physical artists who does not know the blockchain world, right? So that the marriage of that, an education idea for artists could be great, right? We are just throwing ideas, but please be innovative, right? Don't restrict yourself to what we have been speaking. This is more for getting started for the hackathon. You can go and think beyond what we have spoken, right?
Thank you, Shubhendra and Gopal. The next question is from Kiran Kumar. He asks, can we consider medical domain for business innovation team looking for all the possibilities?
So, Gopal, would you like to take this question?
Yes, I would think so. Absolutely, you can use it, right? So when I say business innovation, it is not limited to any particular sector or vertical, right? So if you can apply business innovation to the healthcare sector, go for it.
Yes, I think healthcare is a big problem in the Bharat users, right? So there could be great areas where the participants can innovate.
Yeah, I mean, the digitization of healthcare records, hospital
Yeah.
systems, room availability, right? So there you go, some ideas on how you can transform the healthcare vertical with business innovation.
True. In fact, smaller clinics, in there could be B2B ideas where you can build platforms for supplying medical products to smaller clinics in smaller towns, right? So that's a great B2B idea, becoming a marketplace for medical supplies for smaller clinics, right? Smaller hospitals.
Great.
Yashodhara, let's take the next question.
Thank you, Shubhendra. Thank you, Gopal. Hope that answers your question, Kiran. So the next question is from Rajesh. The question is, if my solution doesn't need to involve 5 AWS services, do I need to force myself to at least use 5 AWS
Yashodhara, we lost you
services?
actually. There is some lag. Can you
Uh,
repeat the question?
yeah, so Rajesh asks, if my solution doesn't need to involve 5 AWS services, do I need to force myself to use at least 5 AWS services, or using any one is fine? So,
Gopal,
Gopal, if you could go for that question.
Um, so you can use any one of that, right? So it doesn't have to be all. So if you look at the presentation, so you would definitely you need some kind of storage or databases, right? So you can pick one from the list of services that we gave you, right? So probably if you want to use between Lambda and Fargate, you want to use one, or and between AppSync and API Gateway, you use one, and storage definitely you would want to use one. So pick probably DynamoDB or Aurora serverless, right? So we are not very strict on that, right? So we can be flexible.
Great, great. Hope that answers your question, Rajesh. Let's move on to the next question. It's by Lakshmi. She asks, do we have any specific managed service for blockchain in particular?
Yes, so there is an Amazon managed blockchain service that is available.
Okay, great. Any further questions, Yashodhara, we have?
Yeah, I'm just checking that out. Can we just 1 second? So Narmada asks, do we need to submit a working prototype or just presentation is fine?
No, as I mentioned, we are looking at completeness of the project, right? That's one of the criteria. So we would want products that can be demoed, right? That are working. So you can host it on AWS as Gopal mentioned, right? And give us the URL so that the judging team can play with your product, right? That's one of the criteria. And during the demo day, we would want your demo to work, right? We know those times become little tricky also, but we would want the demo to work. We would want to see the prototype working, right? So it is a hackathon, so we want you guys to build something, right? So working prototype is one of the necessary points of the hackathon.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Gopal, thank you, Shubhendu. The next question is from Shravan. He asks, are any topics given any preference or weightage for prize money?
No.
Topics as in probably he means the themes.
Yes. So no. There is no particular weightage given to any theme. We would want you to kind of pick any theme. They are all equal, right? They're all fungible, so they're all equal, right? So, but pick a theme which you find more relevant to you, where you understand that space well, right? So that we would want. Otherwise, there is no weightage given to any. For us, all the themes are equally important, and we see great deal of problems, unsolved problems out there. So just like Gopal mentioned, code away, innovate away, right? Pick up whatever is relevant for you, whatever you find interesting.
Great. Thank you, Shubhendu. So the next question is from Sandeep. He asks, basically, my semester exam starts in the month of May. How do I manage when I'll have a clash between my exam and this hackathon? How do I prioritize? If you guys could just let us know how to prioritize, that would be great.
So Gopal, can you share some tips for the fellow developers?
It's a great question, whoever asked that. So, unfortunately, I don't have a simple answer for that, right? So, it is up to you on what is how crucial that exam is, how well prepared you are, that you can spend time on the hackathon. So, one way or the other, sorry, I don't have any any answers on that. Sorry.
True. So I would encourage you to obviously focus on your exam first. That's completely necessary. But do see if you have some time in hand, right, where you can. So that's why we have kept the hackathon for a longer duration. That's one of the things that the Smbhav hackathon is all about. That innovation cannot happen in 24 hours or 48 hours, right? It requires time. It requires you to go and talk to customers, brainstorm with your team, build out prototypes. So we have enough time. So I think every day, if you can spend a few hours, right, with your team, you can still build a great product. So I would encourage you to do both, right? Exams are necessary and important for the career, and this hackathon is also a learning experience, right? So try to see if you can focus on both, but like I mentioned, exams are very important.
Thank you, Shubhendu. Hope that answers your question, Sandeep. The other questions I have already answered on the comments. Guys, if you have any questions, please post on the discussion forum or write to us at support@skillenza.com. We will answer all your questions. Any closing remarks, Gopal and Shubhendu, if you have any?
So Gopal, please, yeah.
No, definitely, excited that you all are participating in this. I would say, as I said, put on your thinking caps, and show what is possible. ठीक है, दिखा दो क्या संभव है to all the businesses, how they can innovate, and how they can transform their businesses. Right? So that's what I would say, and all the best.
Yeah, thank you, Gopal, for spending time with us and the participants. I think, like Gopal mentioned, right, let's show what is Smbhav, right, what is possible. And time and again, a lot of the Indian tech community has shown that there could be a lot of innovation happening not for the world, right, the global businesses, but for the local businesses, right, for SMBs. And this is a great step from Amazon, where they are working towards building and digitizing the SMB workforce, right? So please join the this mission, right? And the way you can join and contribute is to build great products, like Gopal mentioned. Let's show it to the world that the digitization of SMB is possible at Smbhav, right? And best of luck. The team Scalenza is always there for to help you out. Please post your questions on our discussion forum, Discord group, right? And if it's relevant for the AWS team, we'll connect you to the right folks, right? So keep innovating. Thank you, Yashodhara, for being an amazing host. Thanks, Gopal, for your time. Best of luck, everyone.
Thank you, Shubhendu. Thank you, Ishadra. Thank you, team. All the best.
Thank you,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone. Good
We'll,
evening.
Bye.
we'll end the broadcast now. Thank you. Bye bye. Good night.